Welcome to the Next Dimension Podcast, your portal to an extended reality. Every week we talk about the hottest topics in XR and let you join the discussion live on MRTV. And now, get ready for another exciting episode coming up.
Hi and welcome to Season 3, Episode 13 of the Next Dimension Podcast, your podcast that's all about VR and in the future, most probably also about AR. Today with me here today is Steve, VR Flight Sim Guy. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, Seb. A little bit hungover, but apart from that, I'm all good. I'm ready to talk about VR as always.
Great. Yeah, hungover, that happens sometimes. Also with me, Sebastian, the host of the show and the founder of the Next Dimension Podcast. Before we get into the show, we would like to say thank you to our sponsor, VR Optician. This Next Dimension Podcast is brought to you by VR Optician. VR Optician solves the biggest problems that glasses wearers face with VR headsets by delivering highest quality lens inserts from Zeiss, made in Germany for all VR headsets out there. You never again have to worry about having to wear glasses in VR, but instead you will enjoy more comfort and convenience for your VR experience. Simply go to vroptician.com, choose your headset, enter your prescription, and VR Optician lenses are coming your way no matter where you are because worldwide shipping is simple and stress-free. Thanks so much to VR Optician for supporting the VR community and the Next Dimension Podcast. Yes, this is a sponsored podcast now. So nice. So really cool. Thanks to VR Optician for sponsoring this podcast. It's a great company, and I can simply, from the bottom of my heart, recommend this company. Steve, you also use them?
Yeah, it's so funny because this is not planned, I promise you, but I've just got some here. VR Optician's lenses, and I use them for the Vario Aero as well. And yeah, very, very professional. They have those special coating. Is it like Zeiss or something? Or wait, I don't know.
Zeiss is the lenses, it's the biggest lens maker and the most prestigious, greatest lens maker here in Germany, and really high quality stuff. So it's amazing that we can have that in our VR headsets. Yeah, really cool stuff. So if anyone out there also in the future wants to sponsor an episode of the Next Dimension Podcast, you can do so now, and you can reach, the VR community. This is an amazing podcast. You're reaching all the right people, and if you want to sponsor an episode, you can do so by getting in touch with me, and my email address is down in the description of this video. So again, thanks to VR Optician for making this happen. Yeah, amazing. Really cool. So for all of you out there who don't know about the Next Dimension Podcast, this is a weekly podcast that is live streamed here on MRTV, and you can also listen to us everywhere where you can find audio podcasts. So Google, Alexa, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere where you can find podcasts, we are there. And yeah, you can listen to us at work, and probably is going to entertain you while you are at work. And if you love this podcast, it would be really cool if you would give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Simply get out your iPad or your iPhone, find the podcast app, find us, and give us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast. Yes, so today we are going to talk about some exciting topics.
Oh yes,
right, Steve?
Yes, we are.
Yes, I think we are not sure. We are not so sure yet about which topics, but for sure they're going to be exciting. No, kidding. Of course, we will talk about the PSVR 2. It is getting so close now. It's out in the wild. The PSVR 2 is out in the wild, and you can see content creators unbox that thing, and I'm also going to show that to you really soon. It is exciting. We are going to talk about the PSVR 2 again. Also, I will tell you about my visit today to HTC. I went there again. Right now, at this moment in time, I am based here in Taiwan. And HTC is also here. And today I had the chance to go hands-on with the HTC Vive XR Elite again, this time for much longer and being able to try out more things. So I will tell you about it. Also, we will talk more about the Pimax Crystal, because it is being sent out now. It is being sent out to content creators. And yeah, we also want to talk a bit about that. Before we go into those topics, though, Steve, how was your last week like? Tell me about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I don't have as much to say, of course, that I did the other week because I hadn't been on the show for about 2 years, or it seemed like it. So I had loads I was doing. But this week, really, I've been mainly, and I'm going to say the most obvious thing the VR community could ever hear, but Half-Life Alyx. What an amazing game that is. And I've just been revisiting it this week, in using the Pico 4, actually, with Virtual Desktop. And I just feel like it's the right time for me to really play it properly, because I confess I haven't played it all the way through. I always get to a certain point, and then a new headset came out or something, and then I'd end up trying it again with that one and messing around. But I'm actually going to just completely immerse myself in the story and go through the whole thing, which I should have done ages ago, admittedly. But I feel now's the right time with my new computer. Powered with the Pico 4 with those pancake lenses. It just looks phenomenal. It really does. And very scary, actually. In places,
some parts
really
are.
It's because the graphics are so vivid. And, I do wonder, because I know, Seb, you do struggle with horror.
I struggle with horror a lot.
I presume you've played Half-Life Alyx all the way through, have you?
I have, of course.
Yeah,
I have played it through as soon as it came out, and I totally know what you're talking about. So it is a bit spooky, honestly. It's quite spooky, right?
It's funny because for me, I think it's a combination, of course, of the physics, the physical sort of connection you have in VR. Like even just the fact you're opening doors and they feel like you're opening the doors. And I picked up a rat at one point and it was moving and like just mess around with it. And it was like it was a ragdoll physical thing.
Okay.
It's just because of the way things move around. And that when the head crabs kind of jump at you, I'm saying everything everyone knows. But I've been really super enjoying that with the Pico 4, it must be said, because it just looks so beautiful with that headset.
It does.
It really does.
Right. So yes, it was also a bit scary for me, but I must say it really helped that I was live streaming it. So I was live streaming the whole thing to my YouTube channel, like one part to the English channel and then most of the part to the German channel. And there were always people with me. I didn't feel so alone. And
that's the key. That's what I need to do then, I think.
That is really the key. So when I was in a dark area, I kind of dealt with my fear by voicing it to the audience, to the thousands of people who are watching me, to the 5 people who are watching. So so it was good. So like this, probably that's what you could also do. I'm sure people would enjoy joining you. Because people they know us now, right? Because of these shows, they know us actually. I think people get to know us personally, and I think they also enjoy joining us. I know people love to see me play those horror games because they know I'm freaking afraid, right? And it's the biggest joy for them.
Exactly, and I just think it was a bit of a bittersweet experience for me actually, because even though it was just the most mind-blowing game, I mean, it's in a league all on its own. Even now, I feel like, damn, have we peaked? We haven't seen a game like that.
You're right. For so long, right?
It's been such a long time, and playing that, I feel quite sad as well as amazed by it, because I just think this is the dream. This is the kind of quality AAA game that I really want to see more in VR. Then it got me thinking about the PSVR 2, which we'll probably chat about later anyway.
I just want to say, because probably exactly these kind of experiences are now upon us, right? With Horizon, Call of the Mountain, and Horizon. There could be more. Hopefully. Well, who knows? Resident Evil 8, right?
Maybe.
Resident Evil 8.
That, that looks amazing. That looks really
good. A game
good.
that I'm posed to play through alone in the dark. No, obviously no. But I hope there's going to be more. But also Gran Turismo 7, probably people will spend lifetimes in it because they can play that forever. You know, the hundreds of cars, those racetracks, then chasing those best scores and all this goodness. You know, yeah. So yeah,
I think
PSVR 2.
the PSVR actually. No, I'll save that until we talk about it. Actually, I just actually Paradise Decay has just said to me, "Have I played Lone Echo 1 and 2?" I actually have both of those, and I've only played Lone Echo 1 so far, but I found it a bit of a struggle to get into personally because I found her quite annoying. You know, she just keeps telling you to do things all the time. Maybe I got a problem with authority or something. No. I don't know, but I
That's
just
how it
found
goes for us, man.
a little
like
bit.
The women tell us exactly what to do.
I found it a little bit tedious, but the whole obviously experience of, again, graphically and you know the facial expressions, everything very impressive as well. But
it's good. It's good.
I still think though Half-Life is completely on a different league, and I do wonder how much you know Valve had to invest into just that one game, and how much did they get back in revenue? Did they break off? I reckon they probably, you know, did very well with the sales, but I just wonder how did it really do that well, because we haven't seen any more games from them, and they did promise us 3 titles, 3 AAA titles, and we never saw any of them. So did it not do very well? I don't know.
I think it did well, but this company, they are like really special. You know, they do whatever they want, whatever they feel like.
I respect that to some degree.
It is interesting to some degree when they bring us something like Half-Life Alyx, but obviously we hope for more. And the PCVR community, obviously we need more, because it does feel like it is dead, right? The PCVR is dead.
Yeah,
it does feel like it. It really does feel like it. However, you know, what kind of is holding up the PCVR for the world is the modding community. There's going to be that Unreal Engine injector mod where you can play all of the Unreal games in VR, like as in all of them. So it is like mind-blowing. You suddenly will be able to play hundreds of titles in VR in a way that probably works well. So I haven't tried it myself, obviously, but I want to, and I will once it's out. And I don't know, perhaps a bit earlier if the modding community allows me to do so. This is probably going to be kind of a game changer. What are your thoughts about this modding and this injector mod where you can suddenly play all the Unreal engine games?
That's fantastic.
Right?
That's one thing I love about the VR community. You know, a lot of us are actually quite up on the tech, and we can, you know, there's a lot of talent out there as well. So there is definitely always that option of, you know, porting games and some of the mods. In fact, Gary from Immersive Robot, by the way, hi Gary, you should get him on and have a chat. You know, if you want to come and join us, feel free. It'd be great to chat to you. But he mentioned about one of the Half-Life's, which one was it? He did say Half-Life 2 VR mod. That is my next plan. Once I finish this, I'm going to try the VR mod and see how that compares. Of course, it's going to be different, but yeah, I think the community is so passionate that I don't think PCVR will ever die at all, but we are in trouble without a doubt, especially in the sort of middle price bracket anyway. And of course, we've got a lack of software, a lack of games coming out. But yeah, mods are a wonderful thing, and that's one thing I want to try. In fact, when I finally get the Pimax Crystal, one of the first things I'm going to do, believe it or not, I want to try Cyberpunk with it. And I think you should do that, Seb.
I love Cyberpunk.
Just steal my idea and just do a video on it, honest. Because honestly, I think that'd be a great video to show, because the Cyberpunk mod for VR, it looks so good. And it's the perfect game to showcase the lighting, of course, with the local dimming and everything. So yeah. And of course, the other one as well. Oh, what's it called? Red Dead Redemption. Is it that one?
Yes, right.
That's another one that I'd like to try in VR as well. So yeah, there's a lot of talent out there, and hopefully that will carry on.
Hopefully. And who knows, probably some of the PSVR 2 games will spill over to PCVR, right? That is our big hope. That would be good as well. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, right. Yeah, Gary, I've just sent you the invitation to your Twitter. So if you want to join us for a chat, you can absolutely do so if you have the time. Right? Yeah. So what else did you do?
What else did I do? Well, that took quite a lot of my time up. I did play quite a bit of walkabout mini golf, actually, which is the complete opposite end of something like Half-Life Alyx. Yeah, I still love that game. I know I mentioned this quite a bit,
Oh,
but
it
at the moment,
is
it's
good.
quite
It
sad.
is great.
Actually, my Quest, all it's doing right now is playing that game. That's all I'm using it for. And I sort of go and have a bit of a laugh with a few friends playing really badly at mini golf with a beer. And it's just such a good laugh. It reminds me when I was a teenager and I used to go to the pub and have a game of pool. It's like that, but you're in your living room and you're with a group of friends having a game of golf and just having a good time. It's just one of those fantastic games that it's just so worth the money. It's like, what is it, £10 or something ridiculous. And I love how the developer is continually making new maps. Like there's a new one, I think it might even be out today. I'm not sure. And he's so creative with those maps, and they can be like the Labyrinth particular map he used and created is just very, very like so immersive, even though it's like not graphically impressive, because you're in that VR world. It doesn't matter. It's so there, and I love it. So I've been playing quite a bit of that recently.
It is so good with friends. It is really like
definitely
just meeting them in the pub or on the mini golf.
It is. It feels
course,
like that.
Right?
Really.
It is so good. It's one of the best social games out there. Absolutely. So yeah, I also love it. Everybody needs to play it. It's good that you can nearly play it on all the systems.
I have to say though, it looks pretty awful on Pico 4 still, which is a great shame.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, it doesn't look very nice, and it hasn't been updated for such a long time. So,
oh no.
And if you look on the reviews, everyone's saying like the graphics are really like pixely, and I totally agree. It doesn't look right, and I hope that Pico can sort that out, because it would look
I'm sure they can. Like if they want, or if the developer wants, they can make it look better than on Quest 2 and Quest Pro for sure. So it's just about like using the right resolution and optimizing the game for the Pico 4, and then it should work fine. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I think mini golf. Good.
I think the other thing I was messing around with this week a little bit. In fact, I've done a video on it, flying a plane, obviously. I tried the Vive G2. I've done this before, but super sample to 150% in OpenXR. And every time I do that, I'm so amazed with how good that headset looks.
Yeah, right. Still, right?
It does look so good. It really does. Even with the Fresnel lenses, because if you super sample that headset, it kind of widens the sweet spot a little bit. I don't know how. I guess because it's obviously so much sharper in the center, it kind of spills out a little bit. But it does look so good, and it just makes me even more like pained. Just knowing that there's not going to be a G3. I just think, what a shame. They almost did it. They almost got the perfect VR headset. I'm telling you, they didn't need to change too much. Just have better controllers. That would be the bulk of the work, wouldn't it?
Right.
Better controllers. The algorithms of the tracking could possibly be worked on just through software. But just stick some pancake lenses on. I know it's not as easy as that. I appreciate that. Find someone else who can, they can collaborate with, which like Samsung are doing, which is great. It would have been a fantastic, really high selling VR headset, but hey.
Absolutely. but well, since Microsoft kind of pulled out of it, it is now tough for them to do everything from scratch. Like with Microsoft giving them the Windows Mixed Reality stack, actually they had everything they needed in terms of controllers and controls and tracking and so on, and then they just built the whole thing around that. But now with that gone, okay, they would really have to start from scratch. Obviously they could do it because they are HP and they do have lots of knowledge, but probably it would have just been too much of an investment to get it out. So in my opinion, they now leave the heavy lifting to Meta, to Apple, probably to Sony, and they will come back in the future at one point when it's mainstream, probably. And here he is. That is so amazing.
Hello,
hello, Gary. How are you doing? That's amazing to have you, man.
Yeah, it's good. Thanks. It's good to be back on the show.
It is amazing.
It's spontaneous. I've sorted everything out, so I'm back here. I should be okay. Yeah, I think.
Perfect.
Oh, it's great you could make it, Gary. It's nice to see you again. It really is.
Yeah, it's good to speak to both of you.
Perfect to catch up. Yeah, that timing is better for you in general, right? Than the evening slot, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it depends really what we've got going on during the day, but
sure.
It's
Oh
yeah, it's
man,
good to watch. I mean, I've been enjoying the last few episodes, definitely.
that is great. Yeah,
Um,
and
Sorry, I was
yeah.
going to say I've got a quite funny story to tell you, Gary. I watched your podcast because you've got a great podcast going as
Oh
well.
yeah,
And
exactly.
I watched it for the first time the other day,
Yeah.
and I was in the car, and because I was watching that, I got a flat tire in my car. Literally, I blame your
Oh
podcast
dear.
for that. And I was at the
Yeah.
side of the road for like 2 hours, so I just sat there listening to the podcast at the side of the
Well,
road before.
you're
It's
not
really
the first
good.
one to
Really
mention that, actually. I think a few people have had punctures when they've been listening to us. So,
good. How strange.
Yeah, and also I must say I've seen quite a lot of blasphemy on your channel, right? You were like kind of criticizing the PSVR 2, and rightfully you've been like criticized for that a lot.
well, yeah, I mean, all it is, so I just made a video. It wasn't really criticizing. It was really
No,
just saying,
yeah,
I
I
don't
know, I
think it
know.
was really running at 120 frames per second. That's all. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm a little bit jealous. I'm just jealous of people that have got one on pre-order and stuff like that. So I'm going to pick one up, but maybe in a few months, I think. Yeah, PSVR 2.
Oh, that's gonna be
Really?
good.
So you're gonna go for it then, Gary? Are you? Wow.
Well, I'll see how
Speculating.
finances are and things like that, because I've not got a PS5 either at the moment. So that's the
Oh
big
Me
thing
neither.
as
no.
well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Gary, tell us now about what has happened to you in the last month VR in the VR scene. What did you do? So tell us about your amazing podcast. It's mostly audio, but you're also on YouTube. So tell us about it.
Yeah, it's all audio only. So myself, Flute Roger, who some of the community might know, and Dazed Netic, who's got his own channel as well. We do a podcast. It's every 2 weeks. We do a podcast called Recentered, and it's on my channel, so you can view it on there. And we just really sort of relax, and same as this, really. We just have a nice chat about VR for an hour and a half or so, and do that kind of
Great.
stuff. But
Great.
yeah, it's going really well. It's nice and casual, and I always wanted to do I wanted to keep it audio only. The audio only is uploaded to the YouTube channel, but I provide videos and stuff like that people can watch while we talk as well. So
Okay, great.
Cool.
And yeah, what were you enjoying in VR recently or in the last few months? What kept you
Windlands,
excited?
Windlands
Yes.
2 on the
Yes,
Quest.
yes. Great.
Yeah, I
Ah.
absolutely love that game, and it blows my mind. I said this on the podcast. It blows my mind how more people don't put it like rank it in some of their top VR games very often. I don't see it come up very often, which is disappointing. But yeah, Windlands 2 is just so fantastic on the Quest 2. And I recommend people like even now the discussion around it seems to be dying down a little bit. And I really think it should be up there with like the likes of things like Moss and Red Matter 2 and things like that. Some of the peak sort of single player. And in fact, Windlands 2, it's multiplayer as well, so it's got co-op and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed that for the
I'm
past
just
It's
month.
checking it out as
it is so
you're
good.
talking about it because I'm not really aware of it.
It's so good. It's like you are like
Oh.
swinging. You have some kind of grappling hooks, and then you swing around, and the kind of freedom with this kind of locomotion, it's like unbelievable. You can only do this in VR. You know, this kind
Yeah.
of game. It's just so good.
I'm just looking at it now. Actually, it does look very cool.
It's just
It
how
is.
it feels. It's just feels so good to play that game. I really enjoy it, and it's not like it's about 6 hours long, something like that. The single player game, but you can go in there with friends and just swing around and stuff and have a chat. And honestly, it's fantastic. It's such a good game. Love it.
Yeah, really.
It looks
Yeah.
very sort of like walkabout mini golf style graphics as well, doesn't it? Which you
Yeah,
know what? It's
yeah.
funny when you look at a trailer. Like I've just seen the trailer now on YouTube. It kind of goes meh, but then when you're actually in that environment, it's completely different, isn't it? You feel like you're actually there, even though the graphics aren't particularly impressive.
Yeah,
It's just the way it
but
fits together.
the thing with it as well, it's like because Walkabout does this a little bit as well. Because Walkabout, you've got this, you can see the whole course. Really, I mean, if you go out, you can look
Yes,
over
you
and
can.
see the whole course. But the thing with Windlands 2, it's got this really good draw distance as well. So you really feel like you're in an open space, like an
Yeah.
open world. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm often in walkabout mini golf trying to see if I can like glitch through, like go as far as I can, like almost like Mary Poppins or something, like going, I'm really high up, but I'll just keep going, and there's just no
Yeah.
end to it. I can't seem
yeah.
to find the edge of the graph. Typical nerdy thing to do. Like
you're trying to go to the moon.
Yeah, well, it felt like it. It is cool.
Yeah, that's also cool that you can fly around in Walkabout Mini Golf. Exactly. Oh my goodness, this VR stuff is cool. It's really great. I love it still. Yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to find out what are your thoughts about all the different headsets that we have not talked about with each other. So that's going to be exciting to find out your thoughts about it. Yeah, are you finished with your week, Gary, or is there anything more that we would like to?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's okay. Yeah, it's Winlands 2. Just really messing around. Like I got the latest V50 update for the Quest 2 as well. I managed to get that quite early. So I've been sort of toying around with that direct touch updates with hand tracking. So you can it's got this almost like the displays that are in there on the menu system. They act almost like touch screens now. So you can just touch them and scroll them, things like that. And it's a nice little addition. You know, it's not going to change anything that much, but it sort of points, I think, to the direction that hand tracking is going to and the kind of interfaces they want to get to at some point. So yeah, I liked it. Yeah.
It is remarkable, isn't it? How when the Quest 2 was first released, in terms of what it was capable of, to now, just through software, it's like a different headset, isn't it? It's
so
amazing
good.
what they've done, really.
The Meta engineers are the best out there. Like what they can do with software is fantastic. And yeah, just like you said, the Quest 2 was a different headset than it was at the beginning. Right now, it's
very much
so good. Yeah, well done. Well done. Okay, cool. Then let me update you guys about what I did in the week. So I tried out the final version of the Geek VR facial interface for the Pico 4, which is nice. So they added some wedges because there was actually light leakage before, but now with those wedges, actually the Geek VR facial interface is really good, even though it is a bit expensive at $70. So that's something that you should consider. And I will try the competition as well in the future. But good to see that finally there is some accessories coming out for the Pico 4. Gary, did you ever try the Pico 4? Did we ever talk about it? It's such a long time ago that we talked to each other.
Yeah, no, I didn't try I tried the Pico 4 more recently, not when it first came out. I just borrowed it. So Mac in VR and Days Netic, one of the co-hosts from the podcast, they both came down to an event which is close to where I live, the Retro Computer Museum, and both of them bought their Pico 4s to show everyone. So, Mac in VR was sort of wandering around the event with his Pico 4 on him, passed through and stuff and showing it. So, yeah, I tried it. I really like the headset. I do. And the pancake lenses do make a big difference. I will pick you up, though, because we're going to probably bring this up on one of our podcasts, actually, because I've not tried this, the Geek VR thing.
It's good.
Yeah. My co-host is not in agreement with you on that particular item. He received
the Geek VR?
Yeah, the Geek VR, yeah. No, he had a few problems with it. I think that he's been in contact with them and stuff. So, but I don't know his full in-depth opinion. So we'll see how far that goes. But I know Mac likes it as well. Mac in VR gave it a really good review as well. So yeah.
Okay. But good to know that you also like the Pico 4. Like, I really enjoy it.
It is really good headset. Yeah, I can't knock it really. It's yeah, I think those pancake lenses, the edge-to-edge clarity and all that kind of stuff, really good. Yeah.
Right. It's still not perfect. There's still, some kind of, not God rays, right? But some kind of glare things going on. But it seems to be a thing with pancake lenses that they're also not optically perfect. Yeah, anyways. Yep, so that's what I tried out, the Geek VR facial interface. Then yesterday I made a video about the top 10 best PSVR 2 games.
That did make me laugh when I saw that.
Me too, because actually in this podcast, I proclaimed that I am not going to make this kind of video, but then I couldn't resist myself to do it, because actually I did find out and on Facebook groups that there are simply quite a few newcomers to VR, and they really need to know actually which are the best 10 games for them. Like for us, we just see the list of games that will come out, and then we know already, right? But just imagine it. You have your PS5, you have been playing like flat gaming all your life, and then you hear about the PlayStation VR 2 and you hear it's going to be amazing and you always want to try it. You have no idea, right? You have no idea. You see something like Moss, you have never heard about Moss. So probably this video is going to help them find the right video and find the right games, and to make more educated decisions about which games are there and which games they should try out. So yeah, Gary, so what are your thoughts about the PlayStation VR 2? Are you excited about it, or what are your thoughts?
I want one. I definitely want one, and I'm probably going to go around Paradise K's house, who's in chat at the minute as well. He's invited me around to try it when it gets launched. So, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a try. I think in terms of content, that's really what it comes down to, because the hardware, I think it looks fantastic anyway with the hardware. But I do think, like, in terms of like a VR enthusiast that's been into a lot of this stuff before, I think the content doesn't speak to me quite as much. There's stuff that I want to play, of course, GT7, Resident Evil 8 and Call of the Mountain. These are the big ones that I would love to play. But at the moment, the content isn't speaking to me. Although I will say, when you watch, there was a Digital Foundry video about Song in the Smoke. It was an interview with the developers. And they were talking about all the improvements on that as well with that particular game, which is a great game anyway. So it does make me think maybe it would be good to revisit all of these as well. So, and Paradise K is mentioning the cable, because notoriously in the past I've mentioned how the cable is not a good thing. Now, let me just clarify this. Let me just say, it's not a good thing. Having a cable is not a good thing. Nobody would take that in an ideal world, all things being equal. A headset without a cable would be preferable with one with. But I understand that it's necessary for what they are trying to do with this headset.
Right.
In order to get the fidelity, and at the moment, the technology, wireless technology, is expensive that could do that kind of thing to the same level that a cable can do. So I know it's necessary, but it's not ideal. That's all I've ever said. But it's it's necessary.
Okay. Got it.
I do see what you mean, actually, Gary. Like, when I was playing Half-Life Alyx the other day, I thought, I'm just going to try it with the G2 for a bit, because I haven't done that for a while, just for my own little sort of comparisons between wireless and native PCVR. And it meant the cable. And I must admit, because I haven't played any game with a cable for such a long time, it's not like it was a deal breaker as such, but I was aware of it. I think that was the thing. I was aware it was there, and I just had to be just mindful of it, and you could just feel it. And every now and then I just kind of just whack it out the way or something like that. Now I know there's lots of options out there, like you can have a thing that swings, from your ceiling and everything, but which isn't good for your cable, I don't think, anyway. But I know what you mean, Gary. It's like of course, anybody would prefer it being wireless, but I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be a huge issue for people. But if you could wish for the perfect VR headset, it absolutely would be a wireless solution, especially for gaming.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have worked as well as now with the cable. That's the point. It wouldn't be that price point if it was wireless, right? Because they would have to sell batteries to us, right? And it would not look as good. There would be artifacts. So I'm totally fine with this option, honestly speaking. So that's good. And I do think that many of us will revisit some games because they will feel better, and there's going to be a whole new immersion in it. That's what I believe, at least. And I did already speak to people who have already played some games on it, and they said that, for example, the Star Wars game, for example, Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, it is just so much better on the PSVR 2, because now when you use the blasters, you can really feel how it feels, or how you imagine it would feel to fire a blaster, because that resistance is now totally different than on the Quest 2, for example. And also the colors, and I totally believe I am going to revisit quite a few games with the PlayStation VR 2 that perhaps on the Quest 2 were good, but on the PlayStation VR 2 will be much better. Yeah, right. So Quest 2, that's going to be interesting. We're going to talk a bit more about it in the show today. Yep. Other than that, today I went to HTC again. I'm in Taiwan right now, as I mentioned before, and they showed me the HTC XR Elite again. And this was the second time now that I tried it, but this time I had a longer hands-on, and you will see a longer video from me arriving on the channel soon. But I can summarize my thoughts about the device here in the podcast today as well a bit. So, yes, it is very comfortable. That's also the feeling that I had when I tried it for the first time. But at that time, probably I only really used it for 15 minutes. This time, I had it on my head for more than an hour. And when I took it off, I didn't feel like pressure at all. It was so good. And also during the whole time that I was in the XR Elite, it was absolutely comfortable, nearly as if I wasn't wearing anything. So they absolutely nailed it with the balance and with the overall construction of the device, that it's a very comfortable experience. Also, something that I didn't check out on the first try was some kind of middle strap that they had now attached, and it also comes with the device. So with that middle strap, actually, you can still, even though it is already light, you can still take some weight off wherever it touches your face. And with that middle strap, it makes it even more comfortable. So in terms of comfort, they've absolutely nailed it. Also in terms of the form factor, we all know it is like a very, very beautiful and small device, and that's that obviously hasn't changed. So yes, that is good. This time there were like lots of different kind of stations that I could try out. There was like PSVR streaming. There was like mixed reality. There was like standalone, the standard standalone games that I could try out with hand tracking this time. And also there was the home environment and the Viveverse that they showed off. And all in all, it's a very good device that I would choose over the Quest Pro even. So I believe this is a standalone headset that, especially for business applications, actually it will sell really well. I think the price will hold it back for us consumers, but well, if they would sell it, as I mentioned in the podcast so often already, in some kind of installment plan where people would get it bundled with Vivepod Infinity, I think that would be really good. It's a really, really nice headset that I can actually recommend, especially for people who want to use a headset on the go, like who really want to use it, for example, on a long plane ride, because you can simply put it into the USB port in front of you in that plane, for example, and enjoy a movie or whatever. So yeah. So I will tell you way more in my videos that are going to happen on the channel. But my second impression now, yes, I really, really like it. And it's a very, very nice headset, albeit unfortunately a bit too expensive, right? But yeah, it's a cool headset. So Gary, what are your thoughts about the XR Elite? And do you have any questions? Because I've tried it now really like intensively.
Yeah, I would. Again, this is pretty much my default answer for everything like this. I would just love to try it. I would love to try it. But yeah, I suppose one of the things, because a lot of people will compare it to the pass-through of the Quest Pro, and a lot of people were disappointed with the Quest Pro pass-through. It was sort of 3D, but the way they did it was sort of looked a little bit low resolution and these kinds of things. And I know that the XR Elite, it's got much clearer pass-through. But I don't think at the moment, if they updated it so it does sort of depth correction or anything like that, that's the only.
That is unfortunate right now, honestly speaking. So they do have the depth sensor, but they tell everyone it's not activated. Also today also, right? Obviously, I asked them what's with a depth sensor. Yeah, it's not activated. So probably they still have to work in that magic, and I believe it's not trivial to make a depth correct binocular vision with one camera. I totally believe that with the software magic and AI, you can totally make it happen somehow. But I don't think it's trivial. I believe they could make it with the information that they get from this depth sensor, but it's not there right now. It is early, right? It hasn't even come out. So I have the confidence that they could make it, but right now the pass-through is just as good as on the Pico 4. Basically, exactly the same thing. Like a beautiful, colorful picture with a higher resolution than on the Quest Pro and on the Quest 2, but it is not 3D. Yeah.
It's funny, because I have tried the Quest Pro. I did the pass-through was one of the things I was really looking forward to trying out, and I was so disappointed with it. And just the lag. I presume obviously software is going to make things better, and obviously the meta engineers are going to do their magic. But I remember distinctly just trying out and just looking at my hands, and they were just like really laggy, and even though it was perhaps more 3D than the Pico, I prefer the Pico 4 pass-through just simply because it's clearer and just for my use case scenario, which isn't going to be any sort of AR sort of games. It was just it works better for me personally.
Right.
We've got Lynx R1 coming soon, hopefully as well.
Oh yes, hopefully.
We'll see. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that should have a fantastic pass-through. And well, I tried it already. You also, right, Gary? And yeah, the pass-through was the best so far that I've seen.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what are your thoughts in general about the XR Elite? Do you believe it has a chance at that high price? What do you think about the targeting of the device? Like they say it's made for gamers, right? But at this price, it's tough competing against the Pico 4 and the Quest 2, which are great headsets, right?
Yeah, I think it's a tough price to get people into. That's the only thing. It looks, one of the better headsets, and I've mentioned before when we've spoken about this on like my podcast and just to people in general as well, that I think that this is the one headset to me which has really sparked my interest more than a lot of other things that are around at the moment. And this one is one that I would love to pick up. But yeah, I think that price is just a little bit too high. And it seems to me that they were trying to sort of go between the gap between the consumer headsets like the Pico 4 and the Quest 2, and then try to also take away a bit of the market from the Quest Pro as well. They were going for that middle ground. And unfortunately, I think for a lot of people, that's still too high for the consumer market. So we'll see how it works out. But in terms of the headset and the specs and how it looks, to me, it's one of the most interesting headsets around at the minute. Yeah.
It is really, really desirable. Like
I was about to say that actually.
I super enjoyed it. I super enjoyed it. And this time I also tried the hand tracking, and the hand tracking worked just nice. It was just the same feeling like on Quest 2 and Quest Pro. So they seem to have done their homework. And what I really enjoyed, and I can also tell you that so far, in my opinion, this is now the headset with the best home environment. The home environment is completely new, and it is built or baked into Viveverse, their own metaverse, right, where people can make their own worlds. It is not ready yet, but the home environment is going to be a part of this. And I could see what you can already do. Like you can import any kind of 3D models simply on your home computer. You upload them to your Viveverse account. Then in your home environment, you open the menu and then you see what you've uploaded, what kind of 3D models, and then you simply put them into your nice apartment. You have some kind of nice apartment with 2 floors. Very, very well done. Then you can open like a web browser and you can stick it anywhere to the wall, make it huge, watch videos on it. Like they asked me to open one of my videos, which I gladly did, and put it there to the wall and watched it. Looked great, looked absolutely amazing. And then you can invite your friends into your Viveverse home, right? So I can invite you guys. We can watch videos together, do whatever. And it feels really well done. Absolutely well done. You can also open a window that simply shows your desktop computer, if it's around there, if you've connected it. So you can also do whatever you do on your desktop, just like on virtual desktop, but in VR, seeing what you do there. I liked it. I really absolutely enjoyed that home environment. So
that's a good question. Nice. Tasmania has just asked an interesting question, actually. If you already own the Pico 4, if you decided, or what would be your deciding factor for you to change to an XR Elite? What would it do better, or probably even the form factor? I think the Pico 4 is very comfortable.
the Pico 4 is really great. Obviously, right? This is my go-to headset right now. It's there, and I do get it out of the closet. I do get it out and play it and use it. But if I wanted a headset that I really not only use here at home, like it's pimped up with a Bobo thing, and it's like now getting a bit bigger. Like if I really wanted to use it on the go, if I really, if I am on a long flight back to Germany, right, then I wouldn't put on the Pico 4, but I would put on the XR Elite. It's like a super small form factor. Like then the Crystal, no, I wouldn't put it
on the plane.
On the plane, like what? No, but really, like for this kind of use case, when you want to use a standalone headset on the go, like on a plane ride, on the train or on the bus, and you need a really great, amazing form factor, but still all the stuff that you can do in standalone headsets, right? Like watch a movie or something like this. Yes. Then for these use cases, I would prefer the XR Elite over the Pico 4. So, the Pico 4, you cannot like collapse it and put it into this super small form factor, but the XR Elite, yes. And like you can take off the battery in the back and then connect the USB to the USB port on the seat in front of you in the plane, and it will work. So actually, it is really a nice and desirable piece of hardware. Yeah.
It's difficult as well to get an idea of just how small that thing is, because when you see it on people's faces, it looks small, but it's difficult to see how it compares to something like the Pico, which also looks small. But when you see these diagrams of sort of the dimensions and everything and the scale diagrams of them, you can see just how sort of tiny that XR Elite is. And if that's the direction we're going in, it's great.
In fact, the Apara 5K, how big is it compared to the Apara 5K, Seb? Because that's 200 grams. And I think, isn't the XR Elite 270 grams with the backstrap off or on? I can't remember.
Right. It's very similar. It is absolutely very similar to that. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah, really, really good. So in terms of form factor, it is simply amazing.
You know that you have to take out, because there's a cable, isn't there, that you have to unplug to use it in sort of glasses mode almost.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder could there be a way where we could have some sort of adapter that could plug it into that and then an HDMI cable going out of that into a computer? Is there any way that there could be some sort of accessory for that? Because I know I'm like a broken record with this, but I really feel of all the companies, because obviously Meta have their own ecosystem and standalone, sort of that's all sorted, as well as the Pico have as well. So they'd be treading on their own tail if they decided to make the Pico for a link. That will make any sense. But in HTC's case, they could have the best of both markets, the standalone and, of course, the PSVR crowd, if they just was able to cater for that display port. And because there is you take it off, don't you? There's like a little connector on the right-hand side of the headset. You take that off. Could you actually have some sort of adapter that goes into a computer? That would be interesting. Whether something like that exists.
Well, you can connect it to your computer via USB-C, but that would be but that would be the same kind of connection that you do with your Quest 2 or Pico 4. So it would still be compressed image. I believe if you want to do something like a real display port, it needs to be actual hardware that is built onto the PCB. And that's why many companies don't want to do that, because it takes more space and not the target audience, the actual target audience is not really using it, it seems. Obviously, we want it, and I also believe that it would be a big hit if they could say, "Hey,
it's a mistake for HTC.
Yeah,
it's not that hard to build a DisplayPort connection into a headset. It's not that hard. And I think they would
do
increase.
It. You and me would do it.
Oh yeah, I'll try it.
You want to do a Kickstarter, a DisplayPort adapter for any VR headset? I would love that.
Probably not bigger than the headset itself.
We would sell tons of that, but unfortunately, it would be a scam. I don't think that you can so easily like retrofit it to all the headsets out there.
I'll get the website started now, and
that's the thing though. That feature is something that would, because if that feature was on the Pico 4, that is one of the things that I would have picked.
It would make it perfect.
Doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so headset companies, just do it. And you would also get those hardcore enthusiasts like us directly. It would be like a no-brainer to buy all these headsets, right? So make it happen, dear headset companies. We want to have it.
I do hate,
Yes.
I say it literally every time I'm on the show. I sound so it's like, a broken record here. But the trouble is, I do think HTC has made a bit of a mistake not including that as an option, because imagine that form factor, but running like Elite Dangerous or NSFS, or it'd be fantastic. That would be almost a dream, really.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, here you see me smiling, my thumbnail for upcoming videos, and there you just see like how small it is. It's a really sexy hardware. It is beautiful, well manufactured hardware. Yeah,
it does look bigger there actually than.
Oh, really?
It just looks
okay.
Bigger than it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you got a small head. I don't know. It just looks quite big there.
Okay. But actually, if you take away the battery and then you put it on, it is good. And this part, you can also magnetically get off those light blockers. It is a really comfortable and desirable headset. Really enjoyed that. Yeah. So a video of that is going to be coming up. Then today, I went to a meeting, to an XR meeting here in Taipei, and I was just so surprised who I saw there. Probably if you're following me on Twitter, you already saw that. I met Jerry Ellsworth from Tilt 5 at the XR meetup in Taipei. I was just so surprised. So Jerry Ellsworth is a legend in this industry. She's the CEO of Tilt 5, making these incredible AR headsets for gaming, for tabletop gaming. And again, I got to try the Tilt 5, and again, it just made me smile and again say that yes, this is the best AR that I've seen so far. So for Tilt 5, you have this kind of tabletop, and on that, then when you wear the headset, you see things. You see things that aren't there. Yeah, you see things that aren't there, and it's absolutely magical. And there's no FOV restriction really, and it's perfect 3D. You can play with other people who wear that device, and it's just perfect for some kind of tabletop gaming, Dungeons and Dragons style, or Catan, this kind of tabletop games which are supported by it, and it only costs like $350, for one headset. And then the thing is, before that, I always thought you would need one gaming computer for each of the headsets, and I told her again, hey, is it like I need one gaming PC for each headset? And no, I was wrong. So you need one gaming PC or gaming laptop, and then you can run 4 headsets off of it. So it is actually really a viable, cool AR solution that I am fascinated about, and I really hope that I can get my hands on it to review it on the channel. Yes, that is Tilt 5. Gary, have you ever used it?
I've not, no, but my co-host on the Recentered podcast, Flute Roger, he kickstarted it actually, and one of the complaints that he had was really just the board, because I don't know what he really wanted, and what somebody is actually producing now is like a rollable mat, which I think is being shown at some places as well. Because apparently when you unfold the board, you get these little lines, and sometimes the AR, you have little gaps in the AR and things like that where these lines are. So I think that was one of the issues with the actual fold out board and things like that. Again, I would love to give this a try. And if I can get up to Flute Roger's house sometime, then I would love to give it a try, because he was honestly, he was a little bit disappointed by it. He kickstarted it, and he was disappointed by it based on a few different things. Like he said it was a little bit low resolution, and the fact that this fold out board had gaps in. I think those were the main complaints about it. But if it had this rollable mat, that would probably solve half the issues at least. But yeah, I mean, again, I said to him, if probably the way he's described it, and if I was to try it, it would probably be the case that I would actually really enjoy it. I don't know, because you're getting these kinds of impressions. So we'll, I'll see. Again, I think I've been following it for a long time, but I've never really ever thought about picking one up or anything like that. It seems like a bit of a novelty that I would love to try, to be honest.
Right. I truly believe that if you are the person who meets real people, like in your house for
Yeah.
these tabletop games, then this is just perfect. To have it come to life way more than the standard tabletop things, right? So yeah, really cool.
It's good.
So
It is good that you can connect that many headsets to one PC though, and it works. I mean, that is
yeah,
pretty good.
that is better.
Yeah. So at least it's like a viable solution, because when you first hear it that it needs to be connected to a PC, you think that's just not viable to get all these people round. But if it's workable off one PC, yeah.
It is. So, Steve, have you ever tried it, or
I'd love to try something like that. Actually, it's
Okay.
like board games to a new level, really, isn't it? Like we've all done that. Probably as kids and things, play board games and things, but to be able to interact with something like that would be very cool. It is funny, some people. In fact, I get asked this quite a lot. Like, can you plug 3 Vario Aeros into the same PC and we can all enjoy it together? Or like, if we did that, the computer would just explode. It would just be such a bad idea. So obviously this is a very different thing, and it makes sense you can do that. But yeah, I can see something like this being quite a cool. I don't know. Well, I suppose it is going to be a niche really to begin with, but it depends on how much this kind of technology is going to be. If it's going to be something, it's an impulse buy sort of.
It's $350
something. Oh, is it? Did you say that? I might have missed that. But
yes, yeah. It's
okay.
not so expensive. I mean, for something like this, it's pretty cool. I think so. Yeah. Right.
A little bit. So I think that's a little bit on the top end of what I'd expect. I'd prefer it like $250, $299, that kind of thing. I think people would buy it more for that, but I appreciate.
Okay.
This is new technology, but yeah, it looks good.
Right. Yeah. So that was what I was doing. And other than that, I was also taking wedding pictures with me and my wife here in Taiwan. We married here for a second time.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
Thank you. Yes. And it's great this time here in Taiwan. And we took those pictures, and wow, I loved it. It's so professional. I did already share some on Twitter and on here IG Instagram. And it's so cool. So this traditional robes I was wearing, and also we did the standard pictures, and loved it. Really great pictures for remembering that forever. Yes.
Amazing pictures. Did it take a long time? With it like, no, turn a bit left, look that way, and was it like really annoying?
12 hours.
12 hours.
I was so tired afterwards.
But they look absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
Really, really cool pictures.
Wow. And these were just like a few. We have obviously thousands that they are now like working on, like still retouching, and we will only get them in 1 to 2 months because it takes so long. So this whole marriage thing is a whole industry here in Taiwan, completely more professional than what we have in the West. At least in Germany. I don't know how it's in the UK. If you would also go for this professional wedding picture makers.
I wouldn't know yet about Gary, but
well, my sister did our wedding photos because she's a photographer. So, but yeah, you usually hire somebody, don't you, to do these kind of stuff? Yeah.
In this day and age, though, with cameras, how good they are, even with your phone or something, or I've got like digital cameras. Do you really need that professional touch? Obviously. What you've done, Seb, is definitely you can see the difference.
This was good.
That is incredible. Really good. But I'm quite
really
happy,
fun,
not to be that amazing and take 12 hours doing it, but just a few snaps of us together. Yeah, job done. Let's go to the pub, But there we are.
Well, yeah, man after my own heart, to be honest, Steve.
Oh my God, that was fun. Yeah. Anyways, now let's talk about virtual reality. So, let's think about it. What topics do we have? So, we would still like to talk about the Pimax Crystal. So it is now being sent out to people, and I'm going to receive it next week, sometime in the middle of the week, and then I'm looking forward to tell you all about it. And Gary. Perfect that you're here. So, what are your thoughts about the Pimax Crystal?
It looks good. I mean, it's difficult to really have an opinion until you've got it on your head, honestly, with this kind of headset. I think I was always hesitant with Pimax going back way, like many years. When I tried the 5K Plus, I can't say I was overly impressed with it. I think it had numerous problems. But then the 8KX, Pimax sent me that to try out for 30 days, and I did. And, once you get it dialed in and once you get used to it, it is a good headset. It's completely a solid headset, that 8KX. So it made me, from using that headset, it made me far more excited for what they had planned in the future. The Crystal looks the most interesting out of the Crystal. Obviously, the Portal doesn't look too interesting to me at all.
Right.
I know that some people like it and they've had hands on, and it's fine. It's just not really for me. It's not really something that I would be interested in. The 12K QLED is interesting, but I think I would probably prefer the Crystal just to get that higher pixel density, honestly. And
Same
that's
here.
why, out of the things that they're producing at the moment, which I'll be honest, I think they're producing too much and they should cut back and do a single product. The Crystal is probably the most interesting of everything they're doing at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
So
totally agree.
actually, well, you also think so, Steve, right? So are you looking
Absolutely,
forward
yeah.
to the Crystal?
Yes, absolutely. I just don't know when I'm going to receive mine yet. It's quite funny, really. I really am so eager to try it, and especially as I'm such a massive aero fan, and this is quite clearly, aimed at that market, the higher end market. And I agree with Gary as well. I don't think it's all about field of view. I think it's great that they've. It's quite a brave move of Pimax, as they are known for those wide field of view headsets. But this, with the higher pixel density, it really is quite a headset to be reckoned with if they do everything that they say they're going to do. So I am very, very intrigued to give my opinion on it once I receive it. And I'm looking forward to what you think as well, Seb, considering you're the one who noticed the optical issues. I'll be very intrigued to see if you still notice that when you get your new sort of unit next week.
Yeah, well, I've asked them about it, and they said they have fixed it. So I will obviously try that out. But like I told you already in the podcast, when I tried it, other than that wrong diopter in the lenses, it has been incredible. Like the sharpest stuff that I've ever seen in VR. And I also enjoyed the FOV. It was not too much. As in, well, there can be too much if the picture is distorted, right? So, but it was more than the index, but not distorted at all. And we had that great local dimming where you have real blacks, and that is something
that's a big
that I
deal.
really enjoyed, and a huge selling point. I also think that the price is actually not bad, considering that you don't need base stations, you get the controllers already, and that is actually for this kind of high-end system where you get super high resolution, more FOV than other headsets, right? And also the ability to use it wirelessly later at some point. It is actually quite nice at 1,600. What are your thoughts about the price, Gary?
It's just too much for me. I've mentioned this numerous times in the past that I don't think I would ever be tempted to pick up a headset over £1,000. The index price, really, that was £1,000. And the thing is, there's only so many resources you can put into what is essentially a hobby for me. VR is a hobby, and that's all it is. And I can't divert in that much money away from other stuff that I might potentially want to buy that feeds that hobby as well. So that's what it all comes down to, I suppose. So to me, it's not too expensive for where the market is at the moment, because its competitor is the Vario Aero, which is a couple of £100 a little bit more expensive, I think, at the moment. Is that right?
Especially when you consider you have to get controllers for it and base stations as well. It's a lot more money, probably 2.5. So probably £1,000 more by the time you finish.
Yeah. So in those terms, it's not unrealistic. It's just it's more than I would spend. Let me put it that way.
Right. But I still believe for those people who are ready to pay like over $2,000 for a Vario Aero, this might be like a good option, right? Since it's cheaper and well, offers lots of interesting stuff if everything works, right? We haven't seen the eye tracking working yet, and so we still need to find out like what is actually finished now. But there's one thing that I'm really wondering about, and that is this $100 off for Pimaxion. Who is a Pimaxion? This is truly like baffling me. This kind of marketing, like if I hear about Pimax and I go to the website and I see that, obviously I will wonder, how can I become a Pimaxion? What is a Pimaxion? And in my opinion, they are just confusing people with this kind of marketing. What do you think about that, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what it means. So what does it mean? Why don't you explain
it's
to me
hardcore, isn't it? It's the hardcore Pimaxians. They've been there through it all, through the tough times, and probably they've got some sort of discount as well. Like probably they've got the 8KX and they can trade it in, and maybe I don't know, that qualifies him as a Pimaxian. I don't know.
Is that see? That's what I was thinking. Is it sort of separate from the because it's not really the trade-in program?
No, I don't think the trading actually. Be fair,
because the trading program, you can send your 8KX or something like that into them, and they'll give you the sale cost of that, what you purchased it for, back, so you can put it towards this Crystal headset. Is that correct?
No, you cannot. No. Unfortunately not. This is not for the Crystal. This is only for the Pimax 12K. I just had to think about which one. So that is unfortunate, honestly speaking, in my opinion. Right? So nobody knows when it will actually come out, the 12K QLED. And now they have quite a nice headset there already. And probably some people bought the 8KX because they wanted to exchange it then for the 12K, but the 12K seems to be further away. It's always this carrot which is dangling in front of you, and you never quite reach it with Pimax. So I really wish that this would change and get better in the future.
Just imagine if they.
I'm looking forward to try this out.
Before. Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I just wish they would plow all their resources into a PSVR Crystal. Don't worry about all the standalone stuff. I mean, I appreciate they have to have the XR2 chipset in there to power the tracking. I've realized that recently, that that's how it works, isn't it? So unlike, say, the Reverb G2 or something where it doesn't need that, the chip is actually powering the tracking algorithm. So it does need that. So I guess really it's not going to be too much harder for it to do standalone anyway. But I just wish they would plow all of their, because they've got quite a few employees now. Pimax are getting bigger. And imagine if they just focused on this one thing until the Crystal, until the Crystal, singing last night, and I've got a craggy voice, is absolutely sorted. And then we can work on all the other stuff. It would be a phenomenal headset. And I think it would be an aero beta at that point. But at the moment, I'm not so sure until I can try it myself.
One of the things as well, and I've used this is sort of a minor criticism, not really a criticism of the PSVR 2, but that is a bulky headset, the PSVR 2.
It does look like huge. Yeah, right.
Not
exactly.
And it's not like it's a huge problem or anything like that. It's similar size.
Well, it is a huge problem, though. But it's huge.
What I mean is, it's sort of, we see all of these other headsets coming out, like the XR Elites, and fair enough, a lot of them are more expensive, but the Pico 4 and things like that, we're moving in a direction where things are getting smaller and more refined. And then you see the Crystal, which is using a similar form factor to what the 12K QLED will presumably be. And you wonder, really, does it need to be that large? And of course, it's using different technology, it's using different lenses and these kinds of things. So that's why it's got that kind of form factor. But when you look at this price, you look at the form factor, you look at what's on offer here, and the direction that the industry is moving overall in getting smaller form factors, all of these things start to play in your mind, honestly, when you start thinking about your buying decisions. And there's a lot of people out there, myself included, that if you're into certain things, like if you're like Steve into flight sims, really form factor doesn't really play that much of a role, I wouldn't say, because you're seated and you just want the best possible clarity, the best possible experience you can get. But for an all-round VR gamer, I think form factor and the way you see other headsets going within the industry plays a part into what you're going to purchase. At least it does to me. It honestly does at the moment.
Yeah. It makes sense. So I would not bring the Pimax Crystal on the flight to
No.
try it out.
You bring the 8KX instead.
Even though it is a standalone headset, well, the functionality is not there yet. It will come later. But yeah, I wouldn't bring it on a plane.
I think,
But I was
for
actually
me,
surprised that quite a few people that I spoke to on my Discord server, they were actually saying they are happy that it is going to have the standalone functionality. I cannot quite understand it, because I still believe that the majority of people who buy something like the Pimax Crystal, they want to use it wired to a high-end PC, and rather than use the standalone graphics that an XR2 chipset can give them, right? But because how good is it going to look like on that amazing huge display? So yeah, I kind of agree with Steve that probably would be. I personally don't really need that standalone stuff in that headset.
it just doesn't make
Right.
much sense in a way. Although maybe it's more of a financial decision that they're thinking about grabbing both markets, I guess.
Yeah.
But the Crystal wasn't the headset to do that, I don't think, personally. Or they could always have a Crystal, standalone version, PC and standalone version, and because it's clearly not ready yet, is it? It's not ready anyway. But the PCVR and optics, all of the Crystal's main core features that we're all excited about are ready. So if anything, it's hampering its marketing strategy. It's kind of like treading on its own tail, in the sense that they could just have two versions of it, just focus, pardon the pun, on getting that right first. That would
that's
be more
the
impressive,
general problem.
more professional.
The general problem of Pimax, focusing on one thing and getting it done and making it fantastic. But honestly, I do believe with the Pimax Crystal, they do have a shot. It was honestly the best Pimax headset that I had tried to date when I tried it in my studio back in Germany. So I do believe that they have a shot if they get to produce it in masses, so that people can really buy it and get it as soon as possible. And hopefully they have also fixed that lens issue, which they said they have. I still believe, even though it is a bulky headset, people will buy it simply because the optics are like so good.
Did you try the 42 ppd setting, Seb?
I did try that in Germany, but it was not good, honestly speaking. So yes, it was like super sharp, but it was a really small FOV. So, and it was
comparable to a G2 or really like
smaller.
Way,
it was like really smaller.
70%.
It was
okay,
like really like no. People wouldn't want that, I believe. But that was like early. I heard that they had improved it in the meantime, and I'm really happy to try that again. But
there is one thing that Pimax might hate me for this. I don't know, but when I hopefully get mine, there is something that I have wondered about this whole comparison between the Aero and the Crystal that I don't think they probably realized. In the Vive software, when it states 35 pixels per degree, it's not 35 pixels per degree in OpenXR applications, okay? It's actually 27 pixels per degree. You have to go to 39 in order for it to give its full resolution. So when they were showing the Aero versus the Crystal, I bet the Crystal looked sharper, but that was only because of the setting in the Vive base. It is a bit misleading. So that's something I'm going to try straight away, because I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be sharper. I think that where the Crystal's going to be better, of course, is the fact that the field of view will be better vertically, and you've got those the local dimming as well. That two huge things, of course, as well as the inside-out tracking. So it's not a big deal breaker, but I do think I don't believe that the Crystal's any sharper than the Aero. If anything, especially with that wider field of view.
Okay,
but you tried it. So
actually, I tried it, and well, it was sharper.
Yeah, but it will be. It will be though, because the Vive base was probably not set correctly with their PPD.
Okay,
so I think that's just something that
it was set on the highest. It was set on the highest quality setting in the Vive base. So,
well, if it was, then fair enough, then absolutely. But I did wonder whether they put that.
I set it up. I set it up.
Oh, you did it yourself. Okay.
I set up. Yeah, they asked me to set up the Vario Aero to the best setting, and I did it.
Cool.
So,
okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
Then in which case it must be then.
It was fair. It was fair. It was really fair. Yep. So that is the Crystal, and it's coming up very soon here on the channel on MRTV, and hopefully for you too on yours, Steve. Yeah. So that would be good.
Yeah. Honestly, there's so many people asking me about the Crystal, and I think like Gary said, it's not so imperative that, you know, a larger headset when you're sat down, as long as it's balanced, that's the main thing. And I think obviously with the battery in the back, it probably is going to be more balanced than, say, even the 8KX in that sense. But I do like to fly for at least a couple of hours, so it's got to be at least comfortable enough to do that.
Of course.
So,
yeah. I think especially for flights and people, this is going to be like a really nice to go to headset, and if everything is fine. Yeah, let's hope for it.
See the colors. I'm really looking forward to that.
The colors are really good. So good that there's lots of nice headsets out there now or coming up that everyone can get their favorite headset.
But honestly, now let's just say thank God for Pimax. As much as we moan about them, thank God they're here, because especially for the high-end PSVR
absolutely
sector, what would we have to look forward to, honestly? So thank you for
I'm honest
breaking new ground. You know, let's do it right. But I'm really thankful they are there.
Exactly. I'm really happy for HTC that they are there, even though they did lots of like funny and questionable decisions. But it is just tough in this industry to fight against Meta and ByteDance. Right? Because they have so much money, they can simply subsidize the crap out of their headsets, which is on the one hand nice for consumers, but on the other hand, they still want something from you, data or whatever. So they might probably not have your best interest at heart, but it's great to have like other companies still compete against that. Even though it's so tough, right? We see that with the price point of the XR Elite, and we see that with the Pimax Crystal, the price points there. But I'm really glad that we do have those companies that still are fighting, even though it is an unfair competition. Yes. Yeah.
So Gary, I was going to ask a question, Gary. Like, you really are definitely. Then it's a absolute no that you would not even consider the Crystal, even though it's just it is a lot more obviously than £1,000. But if that was like, if you saw reviews like, say, me, Seb, and everyone in, hopefully you'll get to try it as well, because I'd really love to see your opinion on it. And we're not far away, actually. So why can't I could just nip in the car and show you it. In fact, I will do that. I definitely will do that if you're up for that, because I'll have it for quite a long time. So, you know, and if you try it and say it is literally like you're amazed by it, you're blown away, would you be tempted at that point to go, right, I tell you what, I am going to buy this? Or would you still be a no?
It's a tough decision for you, Steve. It's like your main thing is flight sims, and for that use case, if I was into flight sims as much as you, then I could probably justify that kind of purchase. But I like Elite Dangerous. I like a lot of different kinds of stuff, and I like
Elite Dangerous. I do like amazing.
Yeah, I know it would, and that's the thing. I'm sort of almost scared to try it, because then it would set that seed in my mind, really. But I just think that overall, I've got to go, and it's why I like the Valve Index, honestly. That was an expensive headset, but it was a good all-round headset. It could be applied to a lot of different things as well. And I'm not saying the Crystal can't necessarily be used for a lot of different things. I'm just saying that its use case is really suited for your kind of stuff. And if I maybe used it for that pretty much everything, for a lot of like 90% of my VR use case, then maybe I would be tempted. But it's difficult because I know that price that I'm putting towards that, it excludes me from being able to purchase other stuff that I might want in terms of VR as well.
I get that. So, I totally understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose you've always got your Quest, though, you know, for sort of Beat Saber and whatever.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. I don't play Beat Saber.
I know you don't. It's all right.
Nice. Yeah. But I can also tease you guys a bit. You know, I like to tease you guys a bit. So very soon, we'll hear from another headset. And until now, I still cannot talk about it because I'm under NDA. But this headset is going to blow lots of minds. And the form factor is very, very different from what we see with the Crystal and all the other headsets. Even the XR Elite is looking quite a bit bulky against that headset.
Is this contact lenses? Is this contact lenses or something like that?
No, it's really like, it's a surprise. It will take all of you by surprise. It will completely like blow minds away, I believe. And this headset, very soon, my NDA is going to be how do you call it? It's revoked, or it's over. The embargo.
Yeah, embargo.
Is
Yeah,
the embargo date is we will reach
Lifted.
it very soon. Lifted very soon. I think I shouldn't say when, but very, very soon. And okay, we will talk about this obviously here. I will have the unit very, very soon to show it to you. And from what I've seen so far, that is going to be like the talk of town.
Is
Seb,
it
nice
why you
tease,
do
huh?
this to us?
Can
Oh
we
my
do like
God.
a 20 questions or something like this?
Yes.
Is it from a manufacturer that we already are aware of in the VR space, or is it a new one?
It is. It will blow you away. It's like it's like
It's like a
it's like
politician.
yeah,
He
it's like
is,
you
yeah, definitely.
no, it's like you will not expect that. You know, it's
Okay.
something that you don't expect.
Is it expensive?
And
Could you mention whether?
I cannot talk about that.
Okay,
I cannot
fair
talk
enough.
about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that very soon. But it is yeah.
Oh, the
it is
chat's going
great.
crazy now.
So-
You've said that. That is it.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah,
everyone's
Pico
like,
5.
what?
Yeah, right. No. It's not one of those companies that we talk about. It's it's gonna take you by surprise, and I believe it is it's a mind-blowing device. But well, we'll see. We'll see once we can really test it out. And it's for consumers. Yes,
Good.
it's
I
not
literally-
it's not for
At
business.
least, there we go. There's something. We've got some information out.
Yes.
At least. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, right. So that's my tease, and then very
Is
soon
it a
we
new
can talk
Pimax
about it on the-
headset?
It's not from Pimax, no.
Go
It is not
fuck
from
off
Pimax.
that.
Yep. So that we're going to talk about it very, very soon. Today is what? Yeah. Okay, we're going to talk about it very soon here on the channel. Yeah, but now let's go to the next topic. Tasmania, is it a company that we know? Yes. You guys know them. So let's talk about our last topic. So today is a bit shorter of a show. We're going to talk about the PSVR 2. So it's out in the wild, and we have named our today's show like this because some of the creators have already gotten it, and some journalists have gotten it, and until now they can show us something of the device. So we are getting some unboxings right now, and we see like what's in the box. So let us also check that out. Let's check the Road to VR pictures that we get to see. So again, Steve, I know that you're not going to buy it directly. You said, right? So still, explain to me how you can not be hyped by this, because that's in my opinion, that is the most exciting thing. Well, next to the NDA headset, that's the most exciting thing in VR right now, isn't it? Why is it not for? Why is it not for you? Like, okay, it's a must buy. Like, tell me, why is it not for you? Like this must buy thing. I mean, especially for you as like a VR content creator.
No, I don't. I don't think about my channel like that. Like, I could buy it and then show some content of it, but really, no one would care really, because it's a flight sim YouTube channel anyway. So even if I did buy one, I wouldn't show it off on the channel unless people were really that interested. But I don't think they would be. But I have to say, when we first started talking about the PSVR 2, because it feels like it has been coming like forever. We've been talking about this for, it seems like years now. I originally said, there's no way I'd ever get that. I'm not interested at all. But I am a little bit more intrigued now. And I am going to be watching your content, Seb, and many other people's sort of reactions and impressions with a little bit more of a curiosity that I didn't have before, because I must admit, I do love my VR gaming as well. I do enjoy it. And it's just, if I already had a PlayStation 5, I would buy this. I'll just go ahead and pre-order it. But because I don't have that console, it's quite a substantial investment for someone like me who spends most of his time flying, on a control tower, weirdly, looking the other way around. But so it's not really something. I'd have to really think about it. And I think the main point for me will be the library of games. I'll be watching that closely, definitely, because that's the big deal for me. I think one thing about the PSVR 2 is the longevity of those games as well. Say if it starts branching out into, say, race sims, and I know Gran Turismo is coming, and those sorts of things intrigue me more because you're going to get more for your money. Typical games, especially high quality AAA games, they're going to be 10 hours, perhaps, maybe 15 hours long. But I'm looking for the kind of experiences like the sort of Skyrim type VR, where you can spend hundreds of hours in VR over a long period of time. If there's sort of those sorts of experiences that are going to come to the console, then I would be interested then. Like, say, for instance, Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, the big titles that offer a lot more for your money. Then I might be tempted. Very much.
Okay, but Horizon is already such a huge IP. It's one of Sony's main IPs. That doesn't
exactly
tickle
that's
your
what's got
VR.
Me interested. That game, they know what they're doing. That, as well as many other people, are definitely intrigued by it because of that IP. Absolutely. So if that is the continuation, if I see more of that in the future, say in 6 months' time, we're getting big games, there you can spend a lot of time in them, then I probably might actually buy it, but we'll see.
Okay. So Gary, what kind of game would the PSVR 2 have to make you insta buy it? So it doesn't make you insta buy it right now with Horizon and GD7. Like, what is missing right now?
I think, I can echo a few of Steve's thoughts on this. What I would love is like open world, like massive open world games is really what I would love. It's in fact the reason what eventually tipped me over the edge to pick up a PSVR, the original PSVR, because when Skyrim came out, you could only get it on PSVR. You couldn't get it on PC at that time. So that's why I picked up a PSVR, because it was the only place you could play it. And Horizon Call of the Mountain looks great, and that's one of the titles on my list. If I was to pick this thing up, it will be absolutely one of the first things I play. But it's a linear game. It's not an open world. And I'm not taking anything away. It doesn't necessarily need to be what they've got planned for it or anything like that. But it could be like 8 hours, 10 hours long or something like that. And that's fine. Paradise Decay's just mentioned No Man's Sky as well. So I've played No Man's Sky to death in VR now at this point. And I've gone back to Elite Dangerous. And to me, Elite Dangerous is a better, it just appeals to me a bit more than No Man's Sky does. But No Man's Sky
sim, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But No Man's Sky is going to be incredible on PSVR 2. So that is definitely something I would love to try in it. But I don't know if I'd spend that many hours in it at this point, because I feel like I've sort of done everything I need to do in that game at the moment. But having said that, on PC, No Man's Sky is a bit of a hassle. You have to really dial it in and stuff. Okay. And that's one of the big advantages that PSVR 2 is going to have. The fact that everything is focused on this piece of hardware and you're going to get it optimized. We know that No Man's Sky is going to run fantastically well on the PSVR 2. It ran fantastically well on the original PSVR, but it looked blurry. And in this case, it's not going to be like that. So that's a big win for them as well. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, in terms of what title would I choose, it would be an open world kind of thing. If they could do, if Frontier decided to port Elite Dangerous over to... See, this is where I've mentioned before, I feel like I need a PC VR headset to be my primary PC VR headset, because most of the titles that I want to play are on PC. That's not to say that I don't like my Quest, and it's not to say that I won't pick up a PSVR 2, because I've got plans to pick up a PSVR 2 when the library's expanded a little bit. But the titles that I go back to and I'm drawn to again and again, very much like Steve really, are PC-based titles. And that's the difficulty I'm in. I guess I'm not like a traditional just gamer. I'll play a 10-hour campaign and move on to the next game. That's really where I'm coming from.
Okay, great. So got it. So you still need a bit more to tip you over, but probably sooner or later you will buy it. I have the feeling, Gary.
Yeah, I will.
You're going to look at it. Yeah, you're going to look at so many of those videos from your favorite creators, right? And then it's going to happen very soon.
This is just
it will tickle you. It will tickle you to also make content, I believe, right? You're like, oh no,
no! If I got one, I absolutely would make content on it. But I will say that part of the reason, because I'm very tempted. I've got serious FOMO at the minute, fear of missing out of all of this stuff that is going on at the minute, because everybody's talking about PSVR 2. I do really, really want one.
It is annoying, isn't it?
Nothing I've said diminish the fact that I definitely am very jealous of everybody that's getting one.
Me too.
A lot of it is you just want to be part of that discussion as well. When you're talking about with other people that are sharing that experience at the same time when launch, these types of moments don't come along very often. A new piece of VR hardware this magnitude doesn't come along very often. And I'm
You're
not
talking
going
yourself into it, Gary.
I know I am.
Honestly, no, I really believe, Gary, you should get it on day one and not miss out on the fun that we're all going to have, like streaming stuff and then enjoying that first streams and people like watching you play and interacting with you. For me, it's just going to be amazing to have those triggers, those force feedback triggers in VR. I love them in the PlayStation 5. Right? But you have that in VR when you see something like your weapon and then you feel it too. Oh my God, it's going to be a game changer.
It's interesting because someone in the comment, I'm not going to try and pronounce your name because I won't do it very well, but it said if there was some sort of flight sim released on the PSVR 2, will I get it then?
Question.
Like say, if I don't think it'll be Microsoft personally, but say if it was something almost as good as that, in which probably is going to be hard. Yeah, I'd definitely probably buy it then, but it would not.
Ultra Wings.
Ultra Wings.
Yeah.
Or what's the other one? The I can't remember it now.
What's it called?
It's
Planes.
I can't remember it. Yeah, Warplanes. That's the one.
I think that is coming out.
It's actually quite good. It's actually
it is
really
good.
The physics on that is not bad at all. To be fair. I feel bad because the developer reached out to me and said, "Can I'll give you a free copy for it if you want to show on the channel." I never did, so I do apologize for that. But I will show it eventually, I promise, because I was quite impressed with it for what it was. But yeah, I would. Yeah. But again, it's for me, part of the PC thing is I can mod everything, and you get more options to be able to tailor things differently. Like there is MSFS on the Xbox, of course, which will never get VR, we know. But I'd rather have a PC, absolutely first and foremost. But that would tip me over the edge, I think, if that happened. I'm already tempted to do it.
No. I give you 1 month. Within 1 month, we're all going to have it. Yeah, I'm so sure. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a super crazy. Yeah,
well, Sebastian, just quickly, I wanted to.
I want to say thank you. Let me quickly say thank you to Del Wolfensparger for $10, and he says NDA and DM me. You know what, Del? No worries. You don't have to wait for so long for that lift of that NDA. So just keep watching this channel, and very soon. Yeah. Okay, Gary.
I was just going to ask you actually, because I don't know why you're so excited about PSVR 2, because after last week's episode, I think you got called a PSVR 2 hater, didn't you?
Yes, I know.
Oh my God. Yeah, right.
I did enjoy that episode, though. I did enjoy that because some of the thing is, the fact that you're really excited for PSVR 2. I am as well, but the fact that you bring up some small things that points of concern doesn't necessarily mean that you're not really excited for this or not a fan of it.
Exactly. I'm still super excited for it, right? But I still think that not everything will be unbelievably amazing. Just like I said in the last show, I don't think that the Fresnel lenses can hold up to Pancake, for example. I still believe, I haven't seen it yet, but I believe there's going to be some kind of God rays and stuff. So I think
that's where your channel is going to be really interesting for me, because I think most people are going to be focusing on the games and the experience, but you're going to mention more about the hardware and the lenses. And obviously being Fresnel lenses, which we did moan about last week, admittedly, I am interested to see what your thoughts are on that one, because we have obviously, as hardcore VR users, we've seen better in terms of what headsets we have, but it's all about how it translates and comes together and how optimized it is. You won't even think about that if it's an amazing experience, of course. So yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what those lenses are going to be like. It's going to be interesting as well for PC. Yeah, other sort of PSVR users. The first one that I didn't realize they had, was it pancake lenses or spherical lenses? The first PSVR. So anyone coming from
that is so interesting that they kind of made this step back.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting if because there's going to be people out there that probably have only used that as their VR headset. When they change to this new version, will they actually struggle with the Fresnel lens?
Perhaps,
yes.
They're
going to be thinking, "Oh, this is a bit."
Might be, yeah, because now they might have to look for the sweet spot. I heard that when you're in the sweet spot, you're good, but it seems like you have to find it first. And in the first one, it was actually really nice. However, in the first one, you couldn't actually set your IPD at all, right? But now with this one, you can actually set the lenses to fit your IPD, your interpupillary distance.
That will certainly help.
That will help. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, but now let's have a look at the unboxing pictures from Ben from Road to VR. So let's have a look at what's in the box. And as you can tell, that is what's in the box here. Wait, it's loading now. Wow, that's loading long. Now here it is. Can you see it? Hello?
Yeah, it's like it's coming from the 90s, though.
It's coming from the that really looked from the 90s. Like, yeah. Okay, here it loaded.
Dial-up in the background.
Yeah, exactly. Woo. Yeah. So not many.
I love
things
those controllers. Amazing controllers. They look
the controllers look really interesting. Just the headset, the controllers, like one cable, right, and then you have the in-ear headphones. And that's it.
Is that it?
So that's it. So for the PSVR 1, you needed the breakout box, lots of cables that went in A and had to go to B, and it was crazy. But this is super clean, and this is what you got with the PSVR 1. So many cables and so many things were going on, right? So that is a huge difference compared to what is in the box here. Looks much, much cleaner.
In terms of how you charge the controllers, I presume it's going to be cable, isn't it? So why is it just one cable? You'd want to charge them both together, wouldn't you? I don't understand that.
All right. Yeah, you're right. Actually, probably you have to do that one by a time, or probably they believe that you have a USB-C charger because you have a phone.
Well, yeah, that's true. These days, you don't even get a charger with a really expensive phone, so I suppose it's
exactly.
A lot of people have bought the dock as well, haven't they, for the controllers, I think.
That's the point. Probably they do want to sell this dock. I don't really know how expensive the dock is. Probably $50 or something. I don't know. So
I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, right. Yep. So in terms of size, actually, it is just as big as the PSVR 1. And it does look kind of bulky, right? If you see that on people now, I'm not sure. Have you seen it on people? I've seen it already on people, and it's like, wow, it is kind of big.
Apparently, it's basically the same size, isn't it? As the original PSVR.
Exactly the same size.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things. I think it's just going to. This is going to sound bad, but I just think that that's the one thing that will make it show its age before. Right. It should really. That's what I'll say, because the technology that's in there is fantastic, and I think it's going to be a leader for a long time. It's not releasing in the same way that the original PSVR was, where it was sort of outdated. Not necessarily outdated, but it was sort of struggling to keep up with the others at that time. This one isn't. It's ahead of the curve at the moment. But I think in terms of form factor, that's the one thing that's going to make it look dated in a couple of years.
Very, very soon. I must again tease you with that NDA headset. I'm so sorry, but it's just like mind blowing.
Bad Sebastian.
Yes, I am. So it's wow. Those two headsets next to each other, that would be so funny. That's really crazy. So that does look a bit dated, really. Like the PSVR 2, like it is big, I would say. But what do you think about the controllers? So, Steve, you said that you like them, right? They look cool to you.
They look fantastic. They really do look good. I mean, I can imagine with that haptic sensations as well. That's going to be quite. It's funny because when we first started talking about this, way back when it was announced, I wasn't so excited about it. But I think actually thinking more and obviously seeing people's reactions already, the haptic sensations, especially in the headset, and then obviously because they're such good quality, it's amazing actually if you think about how maybe it is expensive, but it isn't really if you think about the fact that those controllers themselves could have been £300 or £400 on their own, really, with what's the tech inside of them. So I think that is one area that I'm very impressed with.
That's also why. That is also why I cannot understand it when people say like, "Oh, the PSVR 2 is so expensive." Well, obviously we are enthusiasts, right? And we know there's even more expensive headsets. But if you know, well, that knowledge is lacking for the people who say, "Oh, it's expensive," right? But if you know that actually, like, controllers are a complicated thing to do, and other headset manufacturers sell them for $300 a pop just for the controllers, actually these $550 are a good price. What are your thoughts about the controllers, Steve, Gary?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, one of the things that I've never tried is a PS5 and the DualSense. So people talk about this as if it's almost revolutionary, like when you've used it, and the haptics is being utilized really well in certain games, that it can transform the experience. So if they've applied that to these types of controllers, it can only be a good thing. And I've got nothing to compare it to. That's the thing. So this is another thing where I would love to give these controllers a try to see how much of a difference it makes. And by all accounts, it's going to make a pretty big difference to the experience. And just on price, I'll just wanted to quickly say as well, all things considered, when you mentioned there, Steve, like these controllers, the headset itself, and you think, really, it's impressive that compared to everything else that we've got going on at the moment with other VR headsets, without companies that cannot afford Sony can't afford to take the same losses that Meta can. So we compare everything to something like a Quest 2, which is unreasonable anyway. And the fact is that it makes you wonder how they've got the price of this headset down as low as they have, really, with everything.
Unfortunately, sorry, go on.
Well, no, the last point I'll make is the only thing that makes me concerned, because we can talk about the potential success of the PSVR 2 and stuff like that. And I think it will be a success, but I was just thinking, like, when the PSVR, the original PSVR came out, that was seen as the budget headset at that time. We only had the Rift CV1 and we had the Vive at that time. If you couldn't afford those headsets, which were £800, including motion controllers, plus a VR ready gaming PC, which, you're talking £2,000 probably for everything included. Then the PSVR, the original, was seen as the budget version of getting into VR at that time. Now that is flipped. That is completely the opposite. And what we're seeing is the Quest is the budget. PSVR 2 is seen as the high end now. And in terms of how much of a success it could be, I think it's playing on how much they can win over people over to that higher end rather than the budget thing that sold the last one. That's really what it comes down to.
It's because Meta, and mainly Meta really, has it just completely confused everybody's perception of how much a VR headset should cost. Everyone's now basing it on the Quest 2, which, as you say, is heavily subsidized. I can talk, and it's crazy to think that a headset like the Quest 2 was so cheap. And it's funny now, it's a lot more money anyway now. And of course, now we've got the Pico 4, but really, headsets are a lot more money than that normally. And this is not a normal thing for them to be that cheap. So, yeah, I am impressed with the price. Absolutely. Especially with the technology that's in this as well.
Right. I totally agreed with you. So let's have another picture here from Ben at the lenses. So here you can see obviously the Fresnel lenses.
That's the first time. Yeah,
I'm not sure if you can see it as clear as I can here on the screen. So you can quite clearly see those concentric rings, which are typical for Fresnel lenses. So here we have to see. There's a lot of them. There's really, honestly speaking, quite a lot of those Fresnel rings. So let's hope that won't give us God rays. Probably there will be God rays, and we will see that when we see high contrast scenes. So in the demos that people got, they saw Horizon, and Horizon is such a super colorful game. In those games, you don't see God rays. Right? I could play like a super colorful game on the Valve Index, and I would tell you, okay, there is no God rays. What are you talking about? But once you see like white on black, then it's time to see like God rays. Or if you see any kind of text, like that's what I don't like about my Quest 2. like I'm so used now to pancake lenses. Whenever I see some text, like for example the names of the games in the Quest 2, you can still see those God rays, and that is kind of annoying. And I hope it's better here. We'll see that very soon. So we'll see that very, very soon.
There was a comment of something I was thinking of myself, actually. I think Mr. Bowian said, do we know if these special Sony Fresnel lenses, if these are the special Sony Fresnel lenses from their patents? I don't think that's been confirmed, has it? Because we know that they patented these new type of Fresnel lenses that were supposed to reduce God rays, but I don't think they've confirmed that these are the ones that are in the headset or not, either way. So, yeah, again, it's just going to come down to hands-on impressions, and once we get them in our hands, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. It's going to happen super, super soon, and exciting times. Really exciting times for virtual reality and for fans like us. Yes. So I'm going to get it soon, and I will let you know my thoughts. Obviously, tell everyone about what my thoughts are about it. Yes. And I believe that's it for today. It's a bit shorter than today than normally, but we got everything here, and we're so glad to have you back on the show, Gary, for today. At least there was a super spontaneous thing. It was amazing to catch up with you and hear all your thoughts about all the different headsets. Cool.
Yeah, it's been great to be back on. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this morning, so I've just got on. But yeah, it's been great to talk to you guys as well. We don't talk enough. I really enjoyed our chats before, so we need to stay in touch.
Definitely,
absolutely. Yeah. So again, I would like to thank today's sponsor, which is VR Optician, vroptician.com. Go there and buy their VR lens inserts. They are absolutely high quality, made in Germany by Zeiss, and we're obviously glad to be working together with VR Optician on this sponsorship. And if you want to sponsor an episode of the show, you can do so. Simply get in touch with me. My email address is down in the description of this video, and you can get in touch with, the VR community, because this is a very good podcast which reaches the VR community. That is everything that we got for today's show. And give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to give this a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast. So go to your iPhone or iPad, open the podcast app, find this podcast, and give it a 5-star review. That would be truly the best thing to say thank you. That is everything that we got for this week. See you next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Yeah, we're still live, and was really such an amazing thing to have you here, Gary. So spontaneous.
No, really, honestly, Garrett, it was great. So my dog's going crazy now. Honestly, Garrett, it was great to speak to you again, and because we're so close, I would really like, once I get the crystal, I truly mean it, just get in contact with me or something on Discord, and then I'll arrange it so that I'll take it over there, because I'd like to know what you think about it as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to travel to you if
either way, really.
Either way is fine to me, as far as I'm concerned. If I get to try it, then whatever you want, really. Yeah,
that sounds good.
Yeah, no, it's been.
How far away are you from each other with the car?
Probably an hour tops.
Okay,
maybe an hour and a half, probably.
Hour and a half, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, you need to make some kind of live thing together then, or make a video together at least.
Yeah. Well, I'm sort of relying a lot on other people at the moment, it seems, to try these things. So I've got Steve, and then I've got Paradise Decay that's letting me use his PSVR 2 when he gets it as well. So yeah, at least I mean, part of it, as we all know, it's just having hands-on with these things, just to have some kind of an opinion on it. Really, that's the thing.
Right. So how far away does Paradise Decay live from you?
Not too far. He's probably about 45 minutes away from me.
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah.
Cool. That is really cool. All right. That is everything that we got for today's show. And we're looking forward to see and hear you in the next episode. Until then, bye-bye. Don't forget the thumbs up right now and a comment. That's good for the algorithm. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.